So, Mike, what are we going to talk about tonight?
Hold on a second.
What are you doing?
I'm playing a little RuneScape, man.
RuneScape?
Yeah.
Not that fucking game again. All right, listeners, this is a very special lightning round. I have never paid attention to Mike's ramblings over the last, 15 years to RuneScape?
Or in general.
Or in general. And he has exactly 15 minutes to convince me that this game is worth my attention. If he succeeds, ladies and gentlemen, I promise to play RuneScape exclusively for 1 month. If he fails, I'm going to laugh at him and call him names.
You do that anyway.
All right, Mike, your time starts now.
All right. You'll actually like this. RuneScape isn't just some grindy MMO shit. It's way more of an RPG sandbox than most games, especially MMO and online type games.
But my name's Anakin. I don't like sand.
I will smack you over the internet.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, big thing for RuneScape is freedom and abundance here. You never, ever run out of stuff to do. There's always, if you're bored doing one activity, there's always another activity you can go to. That is the big sell, in my opinion. But granted, there's a lot more freedom to it than there is in a lot of other games, like World of Warcraft, for instance. You know it. You love it. You got the ins and outs down pat.
And it's a linear, boring ADHD nightmare.
Correct. But it also locks you in. When you start a character, you pick a class, and you are only that class.
I know.
Right?
I can only hyper-focus for about 27 levels, and then it's all downhill from there.
Exactly. That's one thing that RuneScape has in spades. It does not lock you into a corner like that. You train each combat skill separately. You're not stuck with one particular combat skill. You don't pick warrior and then use exclusively sword and board. You don't pick ranger and exclusively use bow. You have the option to go with magic, melee, or ranged.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I can like be a magic user with a sword.
Well, yes and no. You have the option to do the playstyle you like to play. However, there's not really a lot of option as to combining them. There are some use cases wherein you've got a ranged weapon that scales based on your strength level, or you can use certain spells to give yourself buffs, but that's about it. There's not really a lot of like spell sorcery or arcane archery type stuff. However, there is a little something for everyone.
So if I wanted to mimic an Eldritch Knight in RuneScape, am I able to do that?
Sort of, kinda. You can get a spellcasting staff and quickly equip it. You can switch out equipment during combat in RuneScape, unlike World of Warcraft, where you can't do anything when you're in combat. With RuneScape, you can swap out your sword for a staff and cast a spell and then switch back to your sword. Now, another thing that I personally really, really like about it, I'm a lore junkie, right?
Mm-hmm.
I find something that sounds fun to me. I deep dive into it and I focus until I know just about everything there is to know about it. Elder Scrolls specifically.
A lore whore, if you will. Anyway.
Well, no, I don't pay for it, but either or nobody pays me for it, to be more apt. But anyway, RuneScape's quests are very, very, very different from just about any other MMO that I've ever played personally, where most of them are you talk to a guy, he sends you to kill 10 wolves and bring back their pelts. In RuneScape, you would go through a hilarious maze where every wolf is actually a person dressed as a wolf, and you just have to bring back one of their teeth. RuneScape's questing system is, by and large, one of the most unique questing systems I've ever played in any game, not just MMOs. It is chock full of cool investigative mysteries, puzzles that are very similar to what you might find in a Zelda game, and also a huge amount of British humor. So perfect.
I feel like this game is a giant meme.
Kinda, yeah.
Ooh, you're losing me. You know how I like my grounded fantasy.
Well, you're in luck because RuneScape at its core is a callback to fantasy games, fantasy literature of the age. 2001 is when the game first was released. It was built with spaghetti code in JavaScript by one guy in his mom's basement.
But
He
wait, are we advocating OG RuneScape or are we advocating new RuneScape?
both.
Okay.
Old RuneScape OG no longer exists. The old servers are gone. There are some preservation guys out there that are rebuilding those servers with the blessing of the original creators to just bring back that piece of the past. But that's beside the point. What currently is going on now is taken from a screenshot of the code that was present in 2007. So, graphics are not going to be amazing, not by any stretch of the imagination, but it has a certain charm to it.
Google searching says oldschool.runescape.com is a fully playable launch of August 2007 to February 2013 RuneScape.
Mostly, yes, but there's been a lot of adding done to it since.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Continue on.
Alrighty. So, in the beginning, RuneScape was released very limited on miniclip.com, just as a browser game. It was free initially, and then it started getting real popular. So they needed to add more content, they needed to do more with it, and suddenly it was RuneScape 2. People started loving it just hilariously much to the point where, well, to put it to perspective here, Jagex, the company that built RuneScape, is now over $3 billion in profit just from an online game. So they've made a good amount of money off of it, and that's mostly just memberships. Microtransactions are not a thing anymore, even in the newer version of the game, where that's one thing that soured people's opinions of it was microtransactions. So the game isn't without its flaws, not by any stretch of the imagination. But at the same time, there's a richness to it that genuinely you will not find in any other game.
And what do you mean a richness?
Well, like I said, the kind of PS2 kind of graphics are very charming at times. The humor is just wonderful. Puns galore. Hell, in the game, you right click an item and choose examine, and you get a little flavor text for whatever you're right clicking on. And just about everything in the game has that option besides the other players. And even those examine texts can have a little pun built into it. Like there's a toucan. You right click it and examine it, and it says toucan play this game.
Hmm.
And see, just that kind of thing. It's charming. It's adorable. Very British kind of humor.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
I mean, I'd have to witness it. I've never played this game, Mike. I can't tell you.
Well, it's very punny, is what I was getting at there.
All right, Mike. You've got 5 more minutes to go.
All right.
So describe to me what's the player base like?
Let's talk about something else.
If you're a RuneScape fan listening, ladies and gentlemen, please.
Oh, they know how bad it is.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Please forgive Mike for his long pause.
Just me kind of considering a way to get out of it.
It's okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's recap. Shitty player base, PS2 graphics, but lots of British puns. Okay.
So sort of kind of yes. Now, granted, the player base, in all fairness, a lot of good people in it, but a lot of toxic people in it.
Well, that's every MMO.
Exactly. Now, granted, these toxic people in the RuneScape player base, the toxicity they have is just talking straight mad shit about anybody that even says one positive thing about the other version of the game.
So they're very tribalistic. Check.
Extremely.
Okay.
That said,
what is max level in this game?
126 in the old school game.
In the new school game?
138, I do believe.
Do I have to pay money?
Yes.
Although
no.
Okay, so I'm now confused. Explain, please.
I confused you on purpose.
Okay.
Now, there is a free version of the game where in World of Warcraft, just drawing a comparison here, you could play free up to level, 20 was it?
Yes.
Now, with RuneScape, you get full access to certain areas of the game as a free player. There's boundary gates that you can't go past and certain skills that you don't have access to as a free player. However, membership is rather inexpensive, something like $14 a month, and that gives you access to both old school RuneScape, which is the more simplistic PS2 graphics with the tribalistic player base. And then you got RuneScape 3, which has far better graphics, which are getting an overhaul here this summer, and a hell of a lot more content.
Okay.
Now, with the two games, the versions, they did a pretty big split, kind of like how Classic WoW and Season of Discovery are.
Okay.
Story from the beginning is the same, but it branches.
Hmm.
See what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, but the themes all remain somewhat similar between the two.
Okay. So this game, is this a game where people actually role play?
Not a lot. However, there is a lot of role playing to be done as a single player MMO kind of thing. Think of it like Skyrim in that respect. There's a lot of lore to uncover. There's political conflicts that you can help solve. You meet some really colorful characters, solve mysteries, finish puzzles, grind skills. There's a lot to do.
So it's like playable Scooby Doo.
You're leaning a little too hard onto the mystery portion of things.
Okay. All right.
Looks like we have another mystery gang.
So
Now,
what makes this game unique?
everything I just mentioned, all that in a bag of chips. Genuinely. Now, bossing, just as an example. In RuneScape, bossing is not a matter of how much damage you do, more so conserving resources, using damage immunities to your advantage through a prayer system, buffing yourself with some potions, using food to keep your health at a reasonable level, all that good stuff, but also working on maneuvering. RuneScape works on an internal tick clock. Every zero point 0.6 seconds is one game tick. You can do tick perfect bossing to make it more efficient, or you can be a little more laid back, albeit more careful, therefore slower. See what I mean?
Okay, sort of.
Yeah.
How, so, Mike, is this a game that I have to dedicate several hours of my life to? Like, for instance, in World of Warcraft, unless you spend at least 17 hours doing certain tasks, you can't even raid in a proper raid group. So, is this a game I'm going to have to dedicate lots and lots of time to, or can I be a filthy casual?
Well, that's one of the most beautiful things about it, Tyson. It's
What?
catered to basically any play style you can imagine, whether you be the sweatiest of nerds, the most efficient player around, or the most casual of casuals, the most unbathed casual you can imagine.
I mean, I am still pretty filthy with being casual.
Exactly. We all are. We're adults. We have full time jobs and families to consider. So we can't dedicate days at a time to a video game like we used to.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
RuneScape is very good about that
Uh,
because it's very self paced.
All right. So, final thought, Mike. This is your final 10 seconds. Sway me.
All right. You can AFK while you're at work and train a skill at the same time.
Oh, that's dastardly, you bastard.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you feel that Mike was convincing, I need you right now to go onto the Book of Faces, and I need you to join the Arguing with Dragons podcast Facebook page. On that page, you will find a poll that I'm going to post the moment I post this episode that's going to say, Mike, were you effective? Or Mike, you were garbage. I don't want to play RuneScape. Or Mike, you were awesome. I want to play RuneScape. And I'm going to let you decide, fans. My fate is in your hands. And also, if you get bored, head over to Reddit if you don't like the Book of Faces, where you can now find a Arguing with Dragons subreddit. It is out there.
Really?
It is created and it is ready to roll. There's nothing posted there yet, so be the first, ladies and gentlemen.
What's the handle?
That's the handle, r/Arguing with Dragons. Shocked Pikachu face.
Precisely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a lightning round with Tyson and Mike talking about RuneScape. If you love what you hear, go to one of those places I just mentioned or email us, arguingwithdragons@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, we would.
All right. Have a good night, folks.